Welcome to this freshly hatched, unmatched batch from scratch, the show where, just like our emotions, the beers are bottled in canned.
Every episode, we try some beer, talk about life. We really don't know shit about either, so don't set your expectations too high.
Our credentials, null. Our expertise, void, so don't take anything we say too serious.
Let's talk some shit.
Welcome back to the show where, well, I was so excited. God damn it. Welcome back to the show where we are both very pro Tone Loc and have adjusted the arms appropriately. This is Bottled and Canned episode number 32. I'm Matt.
I'm Jason.
Oh my God. I don't even care that I butchered it because I have never been so excited to try to deliver welcome, like, welcome back to Bottled and Canned, the show, and I didn't even do it right, but it just was like I was so stoked to reference both Tone Loc and the armchairs being in the appropriate, or the armrest being in the best position possible for the chair. Anyway, I'm not even upset about it. I'm sorry it didn't go as well as it could have, but it was well intended. Let's do it. Well said. Well said, Jason. Jason, before we start, just like throws out casually, he's like, we should get the Tone Loc soundbite of him saying, let's do it, before Wild Thing, the song started, which I believe did it come out, what, in like 1993? 92?
Probably.
Is that about right? Like, for real? Do you want to see? Yeah. Like, honestly, I feel like I can point to you now and be like, pull it up, Jamie. Like, you're kind of now becoming, because you have this laptop always in front of you. So we can always be like, pull it up, Jamie. But what is it? 93?
Hold on.
Oh, all right. I thought he had it. I thought he was reading it, and that's why I thought I could jump to conclusions. By the way, we're not live this episode. This video will be uploaded straight to our YouTube channel, but it will not be on Twitch because we're recording this in advance of our live.
What year did you say it was?
I said 93.
89.
Dude, you know what's wild?
Oh, the Wild Thing was released in 88.
Wow.
October of 88. And was his feature. It was featured on his 89 debut album.
Wow. Okay. Part of me was like, man, is that really late? Did it come out in the late 80s? I kind of had that thought, but then I went through I was like, no way. That came out in like the early 90s. Just how wrong was I, dude?
Yeah.
And the guitar and the rock element, and all right, man.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Matt, I'd like to say one thing before we get started. Life moves pretty fast, and if you don't stop to look around once in a while, you could miss it. What movie was that from?
Fast and Furious.
No.
Wait, that's not Fast and Furious?
I'll give you a clue.
I don't want a clue. I don't want a clue. Read it one more time. Say it again.
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
I don't know.
Can I give you a clue?
Now I want the clue because I don't know.
It was first heard on June 11th, 1986. By the way, today is June 11th. This is our recording.
Sure.
It's an interesting fact about June 11th.
Yes.
Okay, do the whole bit.
I'm just looking for a black purse in this room.
Yeah. It was from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Holy shit, you are so right. And I'm actually like, I'm a bit frustrated I got that wrong, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated I got that wrong. Holy shit. I was trying to think of like Ricky Bobby saying it at a certain point. Like I was almost evolving it into like a bit or like a comedy one, but damn, Ricky fucking... No, I'm saying not Ricky Bobby, not like a comedy. Ferris Bueller, dude. I love that movie. It
was a great movie. Yeah, that was thanks to E-Rob and Gemini. I looked up interesting facts about June 11th.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm
really trying to work on sponsorships.
Really messing with my pop filter too much today. Wait. So the movie came out today?
Yeah. Said iconic teen comedy Ferris Bueller's Day Off hit the big screen on June 11th, 1986.
I remember I was way too young to watch that movie when I did. But my aunt, like, we went to visit her in Colorado, and my mom put us on a bus from like Kansas City to Colorado, which is insane to me, by the way. Like, just to put like, I mean, I was maybe 8, my sister was 10, and we like got on a bus and just like went halfway across the country, not that far. And my aunt picked us up, and she was a nurse, and so she still had to work while we were in town. But my sister was like babysitting kids in the neighborhood, so she was like old enough to like watch me per se. So my aunt would just rent movies while she was at work, and we were there for town, and we would just like watch movies and hang out all day. And two of the movies she bought the first night were Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and ready for this one, buckle up, Misery.
Oh.
Do you remember that movie, Misery?
The broken ankle Misery?
Yes, exactly. Like, not the best, like for the age of our, it was just crazy. She's like, these are great movies. But anyway, so I digress. But anyway, Ferris Bueller's had a special place in my heart because I watched it and loved it right away. I like clicked with it.
By the way, Tone Loc does have a special place because when I first time I traveled to California to see my dad, I was 11. And when I got there, first of all, I didn't know he was married for like the third time or fourth time. I didn't know. I didn't know.
We'll have to unpack that later.
Yeah. No, like I got in the car and there's like this chick in the car. I was like, "What? Oh, this is my wife." Oh, okay. And she had a bunch of kids, so I was really excited. So one of my stepsister and we used to have our little Sony Walkmans, and we used to listen to like Tone Loc. And as time went on, we have these songs that just take us back whenever I see her. You know, the other one was Black Rob, like Whoa.
What's like Whoa? Sing give me a little taste of it, and I'll see.
100 miles an hour switching lanes, like Whoa, Nitro. No. It's a good song.
Okay, I bet you if I hear it, I'll like.
I don't do it justice. I'm not a freestyle rapper.
You were really pushing the limits of what your voice could do.
Yeah, I was really.
You already sound like you're on a jazz radio show again. Like, hey, my name's Jason.
I told you, we don't know if our listeners are listening at night or not.
It's ASMR. It's not an ASMR show, you weirdo. But no, I mean, I want to listen to it now because I probably, again, I will know it. Like, I will know songs from that era.
Tone Loc was from that. We used to like.
Hell yeah. What else is like? What would be something that people wouldn't expect to be from that library of that time that you would listen to on your Walkman with your stepsister? What was another like surprise?
Def Leppard.
See, I knew there'd be a weird one in there, so that's pretty good. I was thinking the one arm thing is always what people say, but they were just like a hair metal like 80s band, right?
Yeah. Pour Some Sugar on Me.
Is that Def Leppard?
Yeah.
Jesus criminy. All right, dude. Well, oh fuck. Yeah, man, that's wild. So, all right, man. Well, do you have any other special fun facts? Anything else?
No, that was it. That's all I had. I could ask
that's
Gemini.
something. That's a great one, and it spawned a good memory for me, so I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I am thirsty. My mouth is getting a little dry, so maybe it's time for today's beer. Today's beer. Today's beer. Today's beer. Today's beer.
Matt,
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
Do you mind sharing with myself as well as the listeners, Shintu and Happy Birthday Kyle Root, what beer is it?
Jesus. There's a lot to unpack there. It is Weird Neighbor from Beer Zombies Brewing Company from here in Las Vegas. We have plenty of Beer Zombies beers, but I'm really excited about this one today, in particularly because of what it's in.
Matt.
Yeah.
Is it bottled or is it canned?
Oh, see, that's what I was just talking about. It's in a can, and I think that was really exciting to share with the people at home. So, again, the beer is Weird Neighbor. It is a delicious-looking West Coast Pilsner. I love the can, like just like kind of the burnt orange background, and they have like a nice Brady Bunch type of like element going here
with bizarre
with some
characters.
Awesome art. Yeah,
it looks like those what are those characters? Is like Day of the Dead or the like because they look kind of. Oh, there's the guy with the hoppy beard.
Yeah, there's like the Beer Zombies Sorry, that's like the sugar skulls as they call them.
Yeah.
So there's like a sugar skull with wings. There's like a bat. There's a Medusa head. There's a cat. There's the Beer Zombie.
Is that a fish head?
There's a demon. There's a fish and a cobra. La Cobra.
What's the scariest?
I love their slogan, "Craft till death." Oh, it's so badass. So dark.
What is what's your least favorite snake?
My least favorite snake?
Yeah.
Anaconda. That's the only one I'd be like really super scared of. From like,
Is that
I would just run from the others. And
what? Yeah, I saw a viper once. That was kind of frightening. It went right across my path
Woo.
in Zion.
Woo.
I've never seen an anaconda live. My anaconda don't want. No, that was that's 90s.
I know who Sir Mix-a-Lot is. God damn it! All right, well, while you're pouring, then, and you're thinking about if he wants buns or not, we are pouring this weird neighbor. It is a West Coast Pilsner, so as kind of a subtle reminder, West Coast Pilsners tend to be a little bit more hop forward in the Pilsner category, and it's kind of a developing like new style that I keep seeing. And again, there's a reason we keep having these on the show. The third West Coast Pilsner, the fourth Pilsner, the other one's Czech, but I guess it's what's available, right?
Sure.
But anyway, keep going.
So what are the? Is it a cobra that if you play the flute it'll dance?
Hell yeah, that's a Cobra.
Dude, I want one.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
You should find. You can hire those guys. Maybe even on Fiverr. Snake Charmer. We should look it up later.
Dude, what a great job.
How much do you think you would charge on Fiverr to charm the average size snake? Not even a big honker, like a average size snake.
What would I charge?
On Fiverr, you got to charm a snake over like Zoom or like Teams call. What are you charging for that snake charming sesh?
10 grand.
Average size snake. 10 grand. It's Fiverr.
9,000.
Fuck off. All right. Anyway, you don't get it. Anyway, okay. Any other questions before you try and rank this motherfucker right here?
No.
Damn.
I was going to ask you another question. Oh, you could taste the hops.
Yeah. But it's my.
Is that the smell? Do I smell the hops? That kind of like
Usually has like a dank or an almost kind of funky.
Kinda like, it's a little funky, a little bit like I was almost going to check myself.
Yeah, a little.
Before I wreck myself.
Yeah, a little.
Like, is that me?
A little body
Like,
odor-ish,
yeah.
if you will, but
In a good way. Body odor in a good way.
I
Like,
guess.
You know, like that little bit.
I don't know. Like, have you ever smelled kimchi? Doesn't smell good at all. Have you ever
Is kimchi
tasted?
cabbage?
Yeah. Have you ever? It's fermented cabbage.
Fuck that.
I will actually like my fridge outside that I tell you not to go in. It smells because there's a giant thing of kimchi in the bottom of that fridge at all times. That is my beer fridge and our kimchi fridge in the house. So, like for real. So like I'll open it for you. You can smell it. It tastes amazing. It smells awful.
So
anyway, let's rank this beer. Let's focus
right.
on the goddamn beer.
all right,
But
wait,
we
hold
were
on.
talking about fermentation funk. This is fire. This is great for me.
Okay,
Like, this
we
is
are
awesome.
on different, well, not different ends of the spectrum. We're just in a different place. To me, it's light, it's refreshing, it's danky. I thought dank was reserved for weed.
Well, the hop and the marijuana plants are kind of like cousins. It's kind of a
Can you
way
smoke hop?
oversimplification. No, but the very similar kind of calming buzz that you get, like that's why the beer buzz is different than a tequila buzz or a whiskey buzz, because hops is the mechanism, and it is very close to the marijuana plant. So similar kind of like body and relaxation effects and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's like, and I mean, I'm loosely explaining it properly, but I still feel really solid with that explanation, to be honest with you. So,
Can you use the marijuana plant in making beer?
there are beers that have like marijuana infusion, and like one of my favorite beers, they kind of tried to design with the hops they used to taste close to like a marijuana plant that they smoked once. So it's kind of like, it's called Waldo's 420 Special. Like we do it every year on the show. It's the one I always give 5 to every year.
Yeah.
That one, it was like the first round of that was modeled and designed to taste like a Pineapple Express strain of weed that the brewers had smoked, and how good the strain was. They kind of modeled the beer and the flavor after that weed strain. And now we've come full circle where you can get THC infused beer. So it's beer with THC in it. So you can get fucking drunk and then also get like weed high at the same time.
It's amazing what they can do.
I don't have any interest in that, but
No,
my body doesn't like process weed the fucking same way. So like I can't eat it. Like I'll just end up eating a lot and then like almost nothing happens, and it's just a waste. It's just a waste of the money. So, I wish I could just like, edibles are so clean and easy, and you can just go to bed.
Easy
man.
to travel with. Like
it's so much easier. So I just wish that,
Yeah. But this beer here.
Yeah, sorry. No, I'm rambling. What is happening?
Yeah. I don't know.
When am I going off the rails? Where are you the one keeping us on the rails? But thank you very much.
I'm always a very professional,
fuck
straightforward,
off. Fuck off.
serious.
You suck. What do you think, man? Rate this thing.
That's like a 3.8.
Whoa, that low. Jeez, one of your big factors was always drinkability. Like, could I crush a lot of these? Was always such an important factor.
Listen, I don't,
and I'm not arguing. I'm just saying, like, it's interesting that this feels like it would fit that. And again, I'm not saying it's wrong.
It tastes a little watery.
What?
Yeah, it's not full flavored enough. It hits only one spot of the palate.
Oh, really?
And it feels a little watered down. And I don't want to knock beer zombies because I like them and I walk across the street all the time because I live by one. And Lulu likes going over there, so we hang out.
I don't know. This is
not the one that would.
Okay, I feel like this might be our biggest divide on the show we've ever had.
So I said I think we're like I'm not. I don't hate it, but I'm not. It just tastes a little watered down.
Wow. Okay, so here's where I disagree. Just personally, is like
you're wrong.
That is one of the most hop forward West Coast pilsners I've ever had. Every single West Coast pilsner we have is hop forward. This one feels super intentional, though, is I felt like, again, I don't love it when they always blend too many hops, but there is a blend of hops here, and there's a ton of complexity up front. And what's happening for me on the back end is the way the hops like kind of finish on the back of my palate, combined with the slight maltiness that I'm getting from this beer. It is like the best like downslope on the back of. It's just like the finish on this beer is
downslope.
I'm trying to like the finish, I guess, is like where the flavor's at its maximum, like right after you first drink it. But as like you kind of taste less and less of the flavor, it kind of changes a little bit. So like again, when it starts to fade, I get way more like complexity on the back end. Anyway, I'm very happy with it. So
you like how it finishes as it's like dripping down the back of your throat?
Okay. Yeah, man. I like how it finishes and drips down the back of my throat. Is that what you wanted?
No, but I will. This one I like better out of the can. I tasted a couple.
Interesting.
It makes me wonder. I don't think there was water in my glass, but it feels a little watered down out of the glass, out of the can. And sometimes if you drink out of the can, you can taste like a little metallic-y flavor.
Well, you just get more aromas when you drink with your nose and your mouth, so that's like the glass. You're getting both here. Whether you know,
I don't ever drink through my nose.
I know, but you're trust me, like, and also drink out of like the can, the glass, and a plastic cup. You're gonna get 3 different flavors.
I hate how it tastes out. I hate even soda out of a plastic cup. Like I'd rather have paper than plastic.
I would just be like, I'll just take it out. Like if I see a place in there at a beer spot and they're handing me like a plastic cup, I'll be like, do you have a glass or can I just drink it out of the can? Because plastic kills it for us. IPAs taste awful. Because again, I think you need the aromas of the IPA to kind of like anyway to make it tasteful. I don't know, man. I'm glad that you like it one way better than the other, and that would be a different experience. But again, I think your score's fair, bro. Like you're allowed to feel that way.
Yeah, and I think that I'm okay with you winning this round.
By the way, what if I told you I just looked up and I saw that your Beer Zombies
analytics
on episode 23, you gave Broken Hearts Club a 3.75.
What was that? What was Broken
and
Hearts
that
Club?
Was your lowest score pretty much past episode 0. So like,
well, episode 0, we don't want to go back to my.
So technically, this is not the lowest beer, right?
What kind of beer was Broken Hearts Club?
Oh, it was a sour smoothie, pastry sour, like a smoothie sour. He didn't love it.
No. Chase obviously still hasn't listened to the last episode because he didn't text me and tell me what the sour we had was. Yeah. I was in California.
Yeah, this is a 440 for me, a 440, right on the dot. 440. Super happy with that score. I feel like that's right for me. Like close to a 4.5. Like not the best Pilsner I've ever had, but for this style, I feel like it's up there for me, and I'm really enjoying it. I really can't wait to finish it. Down my throat as it drips. This is what you wanted. Don't fucking sit there and look all stoic and confused. You did this.
I did.
All right. Well, anyway, while we drink this delicious beer and we kill some time, why don't we switch to...
It's a time killer and vein filler.
Jason, why I check in my beer on my app here, Untapped. Shout out to Untapped. Talk to me. What's the time killer, vein filler for episode number 32?
All right. Well, this one I have no setup for like I usually do. I was literally just randomly like, what kind of, because you know how you like to gamify everything and rank things and all this, because you don't like me just posing questions. Philosophical. Is that how do you say that fucking word? Philosophical. Thank you.
I didn't even say it. You said it with me, so you knew.
Yeah. But it came out wrong. That's all right. Doesn't matter how it comes out as long as it comes. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of innuendo going on.
Yeah,
this
I don't
episode.
know.
I'm kind of concerned for you.
Yeah,
Can we just not do that?
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah.
All right, we're good.
I was just thinking of that beer that we had. What did I give that one? Come with me beer.
Come together.
Oh,
it's our first beer of the show. 3.0 is what you gave that beer.
So this one, I was just kind of thinking about. All right, this game's called If You Had To.
Okay, if I had to.
Yeah, it's very similar to Would You Rather, just a different name.
Is there a false bitch weaved in here at any point?
No, there's no false bitch in here.
All right, I was hoping for a little.
Because you don't like quizzes.
All right, dude. Yeah, you're good at listening. Keep going though. Yeah.
All right. So I was just thinking about. Well, I'll give you the setup on it anyway.
No, I
So
guess.
just thinking about people and sort of mental health situations, because a lot of people I know or work with or close to kind of struggle with a little bit of anxiety and look for ways to get some dopamine, other than through medications or some other stuff, right? Like you always, and I think that as we're looking into this sort of stuff, found out that, people who are into extreme sports, you get like a dopamine high or a kick from doing something extreme, right? Like the first and only time I went skydiving, like, dude, I was running high for hours and then I crashed and passed out. But like, there was nothing that could have ruined my day after I was like, I can't believe I jumped out of a motherfucking plane. And how the anxiety you have before you do the thing. And again, like in life, when you're looking at, I'm very anxious or I'm very stressed out about something, the reason that we typically get stressed is because we haven't taken the action that we need to take, right? Taking action, you're stressed out at work and you're like, oh God, I don't want to have that conversation. You feel so much more relief after you do it, right? So the only thing you do to relieve anxiety or stress is take an action. And if there's nothing you can do other than accept the situation, then you have to change your mindset, right? So when I was skydiving, I was like, this fucking sucks. This is a terrible idea. My cousin made me do it. And then I was having a good time horsing around until it was time to jump out of the plane. And I almost went unconscious before we jumped out of the plane because I hate heights. I don't like hard landings because it sounds painful. And I jumped. And the second I jumped, really quickly, I was like, oh, this is nice. I mean, I'm going to hit the ground so goddamn hard I won't even feel it. This is a great way to go out. And then the chute opened, and then we had some good times. But the adrenaline rush that you get, I would imagine like people who jump in the ice baths, like if you do that whatever it does, it kicks up that dopamine for a long time. So that long-winded rambling bullshit. I was just taking a page out of Matt's book and rambled a little bit about the setup.
It's okay. I was into it, dude. I was into it. You're doing good. You were killing it.
So if you were going to do any of these extreme sports, I'm going to list off. I've got 2 sets of questions for you. Okay. Here are the lists. We're going to start with one list. Here's the list. You're going to go shipwreck diving. Rank these things. Tell me which ones you would not do. Shipwreck diving. And I'm not talking about on that motherfucking Titan with the PlayStation remote that fucking blew up and imploded and all this kind of crazy shit. What the fuck were they thinking? What you had?
I was thinking, I'm already just go. Just keep going.
Okay,
I'm getting emotionally ready to listen to this.
Okay, shark diving, cageless, where you go with somebody, you put on your scuba gear, you hop in the motherfucking ocean, and you go shark diving. Maybe even pet a whale or a dolphin, Matt. Okay, those are the first two so far. Free solo climbing, meaning climbing the face of a mountain without any motherfucking ropes, nets, none of that shit.
I know what free solo is.
Skydiving from a balloon from space. You see those motherfuckers that just go up to the fucking balloon and they're in the atmosphere and they're just like, fuck it. Cannonball out of that bitch and whew, down they go. Big wave surfing. You know, the kinds that are like 100-foot waves or 50-foot waves. You can take you out on a jet ski. Wingsuit flying. You base jump with a wingsuit, which, by the way, random stat, like it's 1 in 60 people die. 70% of the people have witnessed a death that do this wingsuit thing. That was a fucking crazy stat I learned. Or slacklining or highlining, where you cross up across 2 peaks of a mountain, walking across like a very narrow sort of rope. Okay, rank those. Which one, if you had a gun to your head and was like, Matt.
So is that 8 or is that 7?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
It's 7, right? Okay. The first one I'd pick that I actually kind of want to do, actually, despite even your warning about the stats, is I do with the wingsuit one. I'd most likely want to do that. That'd be like my favorite option. The next favorite option that I would pick, and now we're getting into territory where I don't want to do any of this. All of this is terrifying at this point. So now we're getting into like the least of my problems. Next, I would do the falling from the balloon, the skydiving from the atmosphere. Then we get to.
Could we just stop for a second?
Okay, go ahead.
To me, the scariest part of the sky, like, it wouldn't be jumping out of that fucking balloon. It would be taking the balloon up there. Like that, I would be curled up in a ball at the bottom of the motherfucking thing.
Oh, same.
Like, dude, no.
Just the feeling of, like,
But
I don't
like
know.
that's
Yeah,
the
that's true.
Like the up would scare me more than the down. By the time I got to the up, I'd be like, please put me back on the ground. And I would just.
I travel enough with planes that I've gotten used to it, but an air balloon?
Yeah.
Nah. All right. Well, okay. So that's 2 that I picked so far. What's left? We have 5 left.
Shipwreck diving, shark diving,
surfing,
free solo climbing, big wave surfing, slacklining.
Okay, now we're gonna do big wave surfing next. Big wave surfing next after
The balloon jump.
the balloon jump. Then it's slacklining or surfing. Did I say or slacklining?
Slacklining.
Slacklining. Then number 4 would be surfing.
Actually, maybe you did say surfing. It sounded like you were about to. I don't know.
All right. Sorry. All of these freak me out, and it's fucking me up. Okay. So, most likely jumpsuit. A flying suit. Number 2, jumping from a space balloon. Number 3, slacklining.
Ugh, fuck that.
I hate it too, but it's not the ocean. Number 4, big wave surfing. Number 5, free solo climbing. That sounds so fucking terrifying, and I have a heights thing, and that just sounds awful. Like, I would rather do the surfing or the slacklining where, I don't know, I could at least grab on the line or something versus just free solo climbing and one slip of my sweaty hands or one misplacement of a fucking pin and I'm just a goner. Anyway, and then obviously the 2 in this order is I would rather do the shark dive because it's probably going to be shallow waters, controlled shark. There's other people around. Like, it's more like, for some reason, even though I'm exposed and that's horrifying, it feels a little bit more normalized. The shipwreck would be the least of my picks. It is the deepest in the ocean, and you never know what's around a corner on a ship dive. Like, it's not about what you can see, and the sharks is scary enough where I can see them, and I know where they stand between me and my death. But when you're going into, like, a shipwreck, again, it's dark, it's cold, it's fuck that. So that's my order.
Dude, the other thing, we've only explored like 5% of the ocean.
I think that sounds right. Yeah. We have no idea what's down there.
Like, I don't even know how they figure out that stat. If we've only explored 5, like, there's not enough to Didn't NASA originally start exploring the ocean before they're like, fuck it, go to space? Which makes me think that they found the spaceships and were like, let's go up there next.
No, I don't know. I think it's harder because of the pressure to go down. I don't know. I don't know. This is a complicated thing. Yeah.
So much shit at the bottom of the ocean. Like, I think the worst would be probably exploring a shipwreck in the Bermuda Triangle because there's all kinds of extra shit that goes down there.
Yeah. I heard this term today. Sorry, that really kind of hit a nerve. Like, you just said something that I had never heard before, but I'm going to look this up after the show, but they're called thin zones. And the Bermuda Triangle would be considered like a thin zone where, like, some weird shit happens. And whether it's like parallel dimensions or magnetic waves or radio, like, who knows, right? Like, there's some undescribably weird shit that goes on in the Bermuda Triangle. And there's other, like, geographic areas that people, that's like the Bermuda Triangle of the blank.
There's
or
like
that's like
7
that
or 8 or
forest
maybe
is
even
like
more
the
of those,
Bermuda
right?
Triangle, like all these stories. But the more like kind of like cool term to ponder is like a thin zone. I love that term. Like this weird thin layer between another dimension or another reality or another existence.
Okay, dude.
Yeah.
Random question before we get to the next one. Would you rather explore the civilizations? You know, rather do shipwreck explore like the what do you call it? The Bermuda Triangle, or explore the theoried or conspiracy theoried civilizations on the other side of the ice wall in Antarctica?
So in your hypotheticals, I have to like say there's an ice wall and flat Earth is real.
Yeah.
Not that one then. Whatever.
You never heard that? Like,
Oh, I hear about it all the time, but like,
if that was true,
right? Like, and that I'm never gonna give up. So like, I will not do your hypothetical. I'll be like Jordan Peterson.
okay,
I'm not doing hypotheticals, young man.
that's not a good impression of
That's a
it.
terrible impression. I can't
Yeah.
do his voice. But you know who that is? What I'm talking about?
Jordan
No.
Peterson.
Did you see him on like the debate show? There was just clips of it going around, but I won't debate hypotheticals. I don't know. It just was funny. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know. I can't do a good Jordan Peterson.
No, that
impression.
wasn't even close. But
I said that
It was a good try.
twice.
It was a good try.
I don't really
A
care.
for effort ish. C more. But okay, here's the other one. This one's like in terms of saving lives. This is only 3. Okay, if you had to, would you rather try and disarm a live nuclear bomb with only verbal instructions from an expert on the phone, fly a commercial airliner, like land it safely, right? Like with only air traffic control trying to talk you through it, or navigate a minefield blindfolded with someone trying to tell you where to go, like to try to get to the other side, right?
Okay, so the one of those I'd like to do the most is the minefield, because the only person who gets penalized for a fuck up is myself.
Yeah, but that's like the hardest one.
That's fine. I will take the hardest one so I don't like kill anyone else.
See, I feel like the other ones, other people, because they're more vested in the outcome, would you be more willing to help out?
Yeah. Okay, it's fine. That's true, but I just want to put the burden on me. I want
Okay,
the
all right.
risk to be on me. That makes me feel comfy. So 2, in the same vein, is the next most amount of people that would be victimized by my incompetence would be on the airplane, because then it's like it's all just the people on the airplane and potentially people on the ground that are impacted by my failure. I think it'd be harder than disarming the nuclear bomb. I think with expert instruction, it's going to be harder to like land the plane. Even with an expert next to me telling me exactly what to do on the plane, it's still going to be harder to execute and do the first time. Where I feel like the thing that I would like to do the least, because of the most amount of people that would die, is the nuclear bomb, because again, that's the most risk for everyone else. That's why it's like last, but that'd be easier than landing the plane.
Understood. Makes
Those
sense.
are my answers.
Is that true? The guy that there was a guy I saw somewhere or read somewhere that he happened to actually be in both cities in Japan. Each, like, he got out, like he somehow was around or near the city that got nuked. I forgot which one. And then ended up in the other city and then happened to be there too and lived.
I did hear that story.
I'd never fact checked it because I don't know how to fact check anything online when if you go fact check it, it could be all the same fake story. I have fucking no clue.
Yeah.
But that's fucking wild. Like,
Yeah, like I forget the details, but I also like just recently, like it was there. Never mind. No, this is such a dark topic.
no, I was just saying, like, would you? Let me ask this question. First of all, First of all, tell us that story because I have a question.
Nothing. It just like it was more like these stories. It was like a collection of stories. Excuse me. After the bombs went off in Japan, about like what people witnessed and what they saw, and like they described. It was a lot of different perspectives and descriptions, and it was called like the ant people because they were describing like the people wandering with like no flesh and missing limbs and just moaning and just like walking endlessly because there was nothing else to do. You know, I don't know. It just was like that was one like anecdote or one story. And I hope I'm not saying this wrong. But anyway, so I just remember watching like a breakdown of that book. And it was like, yeah, the ant people of Hiroshima. The ant walkers, forgive me, of Hiroshima.
Wow.
Yeah. So
So if that sounds awful, but if you were if you were that guy that lived, let's say that's a true story, and you happen to be in both places, would you then feel like you were absolutely invincible?
that is a good. Now we can turn this to a humorous beat, I guess. Yeah. Do you watch? You ever seen the show Rick and Morty?
No.
Damn it. Okay, well, this is kind of a spoiler, but I want to give you this because I feel like it's relevant to exactly what you just said. It's like this weird, funny bit that like one episode, and in like every episode's kind of a different like situation that they're in, but they basically have limits to insane technology and insane like portal technology, so they can kind of go anywhere they want, do whatever they want. They really are like masters of the universe in a weird way. So in one of these episodes, they actually are trying to hide out from like some aliens that they've wronged, right? And they pretend that they dive into a vat of acid. So the main character Rick has set up like this fake vat of acid, which is just a pool of green water, and he jumps in and he throws Morty in at the other character in the show. As soon as they hit the bottom, he's got scuba tanks and masks, and he's got skeletons he's rigged up. So these guys up above, they just see like the skeletons rise to the top, and they're like, they killed themselves. What crazy bastards. Later on, they do it again to avoid some cops. One of those cops like jumps in the water and like, or falls in the water and starts screaming like, ah! And he's like, holy shit. I'm not affected by acid. I'm like immune to acid. So then like later on at the very end of the episode, they show him like a late night talk show, and he's like, hey, my name's Bill and I'm immune to acid. No acid can hurt me. And then they like drop him in a vat of acid on live television, and he just immediately like gets dissolved into the acid because it wasn't real acid. So again, like all that to be said is like, it's the same thing where like people think that I've survived 2 bombs. I can survive anything. And they go walk into the 3rd bomb and then just vaporized. So anyway,
Almost like Martin Lawrence's character in Bad Boys for Life, when he almost died. He's like, I saw the light. I saw this. I can't die. And he just walks out in the traffic, and Will Smith's character is like, what are you doing? He's just like walking across the street. He's like, I can't die.
I haven't seen Bad Boys for Life. I've seen Bad Boys 1 and 2. They're classics.
Yeah. It's good. If you liked all the Bad Boys, it's the same. It's good.
I did download it for the plane, just never watched it. So I was interested.
I didn't give it away.
No, it's okay. I know exactly what to expect of those movies, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. No, they're good.
It's like going to a Fast and Furious movie. It's a recipe.
Yes, you know what's going to happen. My question is though, that cop never once thought that maybe it wasn't acid. Like he didn't take that into consideration?
Yeah, like in my head, in like a real universe, he would like test it out and pour different acids on him at that point.
Like check it on, like.
But I think the part that again, I'm trying to go through it fast, but he'd literally be like, "Suck my ass! I'm immune to acid." He would be such an asshole about it. He was like rubbing it in everyone's face.
That's totally how I would be.
Right, like he was just like, yeah, you were like, would you just feel invincible? I was like, yeah, you would.
Yeah, I'd be like,
Jason would.
Yeah,
yeah, like you would just literally, you'd get hit by a car and the car would crash, and you would just be like, what's next? Do I jump on the freeway? Could it be a semi truck? Like you would just try to push it immediately.
Yeah,
like, you would
exactly.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
Anyway, which is grossly wrong, but all right, buddy. Well, I think we are kind of. Do you have any more time killer vein fillers? Unless we're good.
No, I've got another one, but I'm going to hold it until next time.
All right. Well, then I think that's the cue for today's. It's time for that main discussion, where just like today's beer, our emotions are bottled and canned.
You know they could see you.
I know, buddy. I'm just showing you, baby. Hey, baby, it's just showing you, baby.
Right. Hey, are the emotions bottled or are they canned?
Man, it's the motherfucking main discussion, and they are a little bit of both, my friend.
You almost picked one.
No, I didn't. I was trying to fake you out. I did. It was like a head fake.
It's like a Pat Mahomes no-look pass.
I appreciate that reference. It is relevant to my fandom. All right, so to the main discussion today. Again, we always tie the main discussion and the topic into the name of today's beer. And today was Weird Neighbors. I'm going to give you a few different angles here because ultimately, again, we reflect on our lives. We tell stories. We try to end up maybe giving advice or, again, at least through telling a story, try to like give some kind of lesson, right? Like it's kind of like the premise of the show. We get away from it sometimes. We just end up talking shit and having fun and going through scenarios. But here's the premise for Weird Neighbor. Are you the weird neighbor? Who have been your weird neighbors? Do you have funny neighbor stories? Do you have advice on how to take care of your house or yard to avoid being the weird neighbor? So think back. Like, I have stories about neighbors from everywhere I've lived, like big and small, and memories. And I could go around the cul-de-sac and give you like a rundown of like my first neighbors in my cul-de-sac and like how they were important to like every part of my life. Like I can paint that picture for you. And again, it's not about weird neighbors, but just like there's a couple of them that were weird. But anyway, I just have memories about it, like them, and I remember a lot of them. So I just want to like open up that can of worms. What do you got? Anything inspired there?
A couple things come in mind. One is after I moved to Vegas, I spent a lot of time not knowing my neighbors.
That's a very Vegas thing. No one talks to each other out here. No.
Until I got a dog, and then I knew all the neighbors because I knew all the neighbors with dogs. Because actually, let me take that. Most of us know our dogs' names, but we don't always remember our names.
Right, like I know Eyeballs, but I don't know the mom's name.
Yeah. Everybody's like, "Oh, you're Lulu's dad." Yeah. Oh, you're Roxy. There's a couple that you remember the name, but it's like So when I moved to Vegas, I didn't know the neighbors. In Indiana, can I say the street?
Of course you can.
This one's not a
Who gives
fun
a shit
one
about a street?
but like I didn't realize the gravity of the situation when I called the neighbor out for being a fucking weirdo. So I lived on this cul-de-sac.
Okay.
I lived on this cul-de-sac, and there was like, let's see, there was Matt, and there was next to my grandparents' house on the other side was Elizabeth and Sarah. Then there was Marty, and then there were some other neighbors. There was, oh gosh, I can't think of their last names now. But we lived in our little cul-de-sac. We all hung out, rode our little bikes. The ones where I got hit by the car, I told from last episode.
Yeah, that's right. Jesus.
We had the pit where we used to jump the bikes, right? So we all knew each other. Neighbors knew each other. Used to go to neighbors' houses all the time, knock on the door. Hey, can so-and-so come out and play? Funny story. I remember when I was way too old to need help going to the washroom, if you know what I'm saying. I was like over there, and I couldn't go for whatever reason. I waited way too long, and then was like, oh, I can't go next door. It's like literally the house over. I was like, I got to go here. And I was like, oh. Now I came to the part that I struggle with at my age, and I probably shouldn't. So I was like, I had to call somebody else's mom and be like, hey, can I get a little help with this, please? What? Yeah, I'm struggling with the cleanup portion. That was a little embarrassing. But, she handled business like a mom, so she was good. That was a little embarrassing because I was like, 16, 17 when that happened? But I had the neighbor. There was a couple neighbors down. And this part's actually not that funny, but at the time I didn't think it was that big of a deal. All the garages were open. It was like one of those neighborhoods people open or shut the door, like it's very 80s kind of neighborhood where everything goes. If somebody saw you doing something stupid, they call your mom, be like, what the fuck is your kid doing? And you come home, be like, what were you fucking doing? And then, you get kicked in the face, that kind of thing. I'm kidding. My mom never.
That sounded like a very specific voice of experience.
Yeah, no, my mom never. My mom never. Happened, right? My mom never kicked anybody in the face, but she did once call me back up the stairs because she was really mad at me, and I said something completely out of line, and she tried to hit me, and I was walking, like slap me in the face. Sometimes you put like the sideburn here, and it hurt, and I was like, and then I remember my mom would be like, she goes, "Come back here," and I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "So I can smack you," and I was like, "Well, then hell no." And it was like really funny. It kind of broke the ice in that moment. And we just both started laughing. Like, yeah, Mom, why would I come back so I can get punished? That's a stupid idea.
Next time, you have to say, you've got candy and sweets for me to enjoy.
Yes. And then maybe I'll come up and be like, oh, damn, you got me.
And then, you got me. I love it, dude. That's amazing.
Yes. But no, this one was like, I was much younger, and it didn't seem like that big of a deal. It just felt wrong. But I go over to the neighbor. This is probably not the direction you wanted this to go in. But I
love it.
But I walk over neighbor's house, and we're all like, oh, hey, so-and-so. It's across the street from the guy that had the three-wheeler before four-wheelers were big. You remember the guy with the three-wheeler? Yeah, okay. You don't remember him? Did you not grow up on Summer Drive? No.
Checking my notes. No, I did not. Turns out,
Sherrville?
Nope,
No?
wasn't
Okay.
me. No,
All right.
Didn't have Shoop's Burgers either.
Oh no.
so.
No, but this dude was like all the kids like kind of turned around and went, and I was still kind of kicking it with the random neighbor, and he was like, he had these like little shorts on, the '80s shorts, and he was kind of squatting down, and then he just like flipped it out, and I was like, that was weird. All right, man, I'll see you later. And I left, and I went back to the house, and I was like, that was weird. I can't remember what his name is. I don't want to say the wrong neighbor's name because I'm not sure of his name, so I'd hate to throw out the name, not because I'm trying to protect kind of a creep, but I would feel really bad if I used the wrong neighbor's name. So I'm not going to say the neighbor's name. And I was like, hey, so-and-so neighbor over there, he just did that. I was like, maybe kindergarten, maybe preschool. I don't know. I can't remember if I was at, it's kindergarten-ish, right? Because it's a little of my grandparents. And next thing I know, the police show up at the house, and they asked me to tell a story. And I told a story. And they say, anybody else? I go, well, all these motherfuckers were here. Police officer? They were all fucking there. And they asked the kids, they're like, we didn't see it. We weren't there. Like, because they all actually had kind of walked away, but we were all in that. And they asked if anybody else was there. And I was like, well, they were there, but they kind of walked away. And I told the story. And I was like, that's all that really happened. Nothing big. And then they went and questioned him about it or whatever. And I remember people be like, why'd you, some of the kids were like, why'd you do that? The neighbor, I go, because he fucking did it. But it was really funny because at that age, I was like, that didn't seem right. So I told somebody, and they called the police and they questioned him. I didn't feel any guilt. I didn't feel anything. I just felt like, yeah, I'm supposed to tell somebody when some weird shit goes down. That's what I'm supposed to do, But I can see when you get older, depending on sort of certain situations, like a lot of times people are scared to share those because they're like, oh my God, it's going to be my fault that somebody got. Like you start thinking about, your mind races and you think about all the things that might have happened or repercussions or all this. But at that age, I was just like, he did that. That was wrong. I told somebody I did what I was supposed to, and I never thought a second thing about it. That guy was a fucking creep. And then we were never allowed to ride our bikes past his house, so we had to go across the street and go down.
That is like some like 80s shit, dude. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's wild. You do have a weird, when we were talking about topics for the show and I was like, I had a weird neighbor beer, you were like, I don't know if I got anything for that one. Yeah, you do. You got
that's the one that came to mind.
That's a good one.
But I'd rather talk about riding bikes that time.
At the time. Okay. So now we got somehow we've gone to the same neighborhood, the same era, the same mechanism, the bike, and yet the symbol of like youth and freedom and beauty was last episode, and you've made it creepy.
Dark and creepy.
Yeah, a little bit. I fold. That's all for today's episode. No, I'm just kidding. That's pretty funny though, in a weird way. Like that's quite
fucking
a
hilarious
story. Well, it's just quite a story.
Me Too's are not funny, Matt.
No, dude, but it's just funny in the way of like, God, like that guy. You were like unabashedly just loud about it. How many kids just kind of don't ever say anything and just would be like, oh, I'll just bury this. But you're just like, hey, I'm going to talk. And that's just good on you, dude. That just seems like you, though. Hey, my brain is telling me this is wrong. I need to talk. Like that just seems very Jason.
Yeah. It was one of those situations that was just like, it was one of those things that just felt like weird and awkward and wrong. And I said something. But because of those sort of situations, I'm also now very cautious about certain things. Like it makes me think. I'm trying to put this in a way that makes sense. Because it made me realize that there's creeps out there. You don't know where these motherfuckers come from, right? So anytime like you go to somebody's house and they got kids and people with kids, they're used to their kids like running around, and I'm like, put some fucking clothes on your kid. Like, why are you creeped out? I go, I'm not creeped out by it. I'm just saying you don't know who's around. Like, don't.
No, I mean, like, even as a parent, we've always commented, like, dude, yeah, strap them up, put some clothes on these kids, you know? It's just weird,
well, no, and here's one that's like, and I don't know if it's the right thing or not, or the wrong thing, but like, I always thought when there's kids in the house, whether they're a certain age, whether they're alone or with their friends or whatever, the doors can't be closed because you don't know what they're up to, right? So you go to somebody, let me show you this. No, we're not closing the door. You should never be getting in the habit of closing your door with anyone at young ages. Leave the door open, right? So it's just a weird thing.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
Yeah. So I'm like, anytime you're with somebody, no, dude, let me just make sure these kids have good habits. Don't care if you trust the person. Don't care. Leave the fucking door open. Don't do that. Because you never, listen, we have a mutual friend that's put in some weird fucking situations. And you know what? You can never be too cautious when you're around a kid. You know what I mean? You can never have your kids too cautious about that thing. We were always taught about the white van and the fucking candies.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Like you can't. No, like it better be safe. Better just to be safe. You know what I mean?
Stranger danger has never changed. Even the kids today, they still got to learn that stranger danger.
But
anyway,
I was gonna say that I was actually thinking that story didn't shape me, but it did because it made me think that you shouldn't go into your neighbor's house alone without, when you're a kid or whatever. Don't fucking do that shit. Don't get in the car with a stranger. They tell you, remember the 80s? Oh, were you born in 80s? When the fuck were you born?
Yeah, I was born late 80s. Yeah.
Okay. They used to teach us other than those PSAs, don't shake the baby. Who the fuck is shaking the babies? Why do you have to have
people
shake the babies? That's fucking
it's not
like
funny.
you had
a
to.
lot of people.
Yeah, you had to tell people don't shake the. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you shake the baby?
You'd be surprised.
But like they would always say, oh, don't get in the car with strangers, and they would teach you all these things, officer friendly, all this stuff. But I don't know, that's sort of because of that situation. When I got to the age and they were teaching that stuff, I was like, oh yeah, you never know. You shouldn't go into the house with strangers alone, or even neighbors. Like if you're not there with people you feel it's like one of those things. But at the time I was like, it didn't feel like a big deal as a kid. I was like, oh, that was fucking weird. I'm gonna tell mom, tell grandma, and let them fucking regulate. And they fucking regulated. Call the police.
Damn, bro.
Yeah.
And that shit gets around in that type of community, that type of town. Like where you said, everyone was like, what have you done? They know. They kind of almost blame you for I don't know. It's weird.
But now
everything's so connected at that time.
And now as I'm older, I'm like, you know what? I'm glad I at the time, it may, whether people thought whatever they thought, oh, he's a nice guy, whatever. Well, you know what? They're always going to be now questioning it. So this guy's got to be, if he was a fucking creep, which he was that day, and even in my mind, I'm trying to think oh, maybe it was an accident. Maybe he was just adjusting, maybe whatever. And it just kind of, I don't know. At the time, in my way, I remember that shit. It was just deliberate. And I was like, whoa, weird. And I left, which was the right thing to do. But he was called out. Guarantee he didn't do it to anybody else in the fucking neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
Holy shit, bro. I mean, again, that's it's kind of again, I think there's good out of that and good on you. I think you did the right thing. That's the thing everyone needs to do, but it's hard to do that. So good. Oh my God, I got nothing. That all my stuff pales in comparison to that.
Well, I didn't want to go first, and I didn't even want to bring that one up.
Maybe I should. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have. No, I'm just kidding. It was great.
That was kind
of. No, it was powerful, and again, I mean that. So, God, dude. So I'll tell. Oh God, I didn't want to go anywhere that I wanted to go.
No, go, lighten it up or make it darker. I don't care. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
All right, we'll make it darker. So I guess thinking back
for real, making it darker.
No, it did not.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to keep it in more of a negative light. Here we go. Weird neighbors, right? It should be kind of a gross neighbors and weird neighbors. So the house behind us also had 4 or 5 kids. The oldest one was 15 or 16, and the rest were 10 and under, 8 and under. You know what I mean? And mind you, this is a super white trash area in Kansas City, Missouri. Not the most rural, but still a white trash area of that metropolitan area. And they were the kids that were closest to us in age in the whole neighborhood. There were some kids that were very close in age to us that we were friends with, but they lived basically, if it's a cul-de-sac and there was 2 cul-de-sacs back to back, you know how if you just walk through between 2 houses, you'll get to another cul-de-sac, you know what I mean? Where it's just the back of another house and another cul-de-sac. So the kids lived in that basically one cul-de-sac over. And those kids were nice and they were young and all that. But they moved when we were very young, kindergarten. And so these other kids were the only ones around. And when I tell you, we lived in a white trash area, but they were the epitome of white trash, like it would be not doing it justice. I think I've talked about some of this on the show. I remember one of the kids being named Jesse. I don't remember if that was the boy or the girl. There was like an older boy and an older girl, but they were, again, about a year or two older than me and my sister. So yeah, I bring all this up is like, dude, the house is a hoarder house, like disgusting, caked on dirt and like grossness, stacked with boxes and junk and cigarette butts, and like they had like a Super Nintendo and a TV that that didn't belong there. They had TVs in every room of the house, but they had
was it the kind of place that had like the working TV on top of the broken TV?
Kind of like that type of vibe. Yes, yeah, actually, that might have been the setup there in the basement.
It's always a good setup.
Anyway, the older brother was a bad influence, but he had like all these X-Men posters in his room, and like he was so cool to me because he was older. But they were just the weirdest neighbors, bro. My sister and I got caught like smoking cigarettes with them when we were kids.
What kind of cigarettes?
Dude, I mean, that's the thing is, I don't even remember. We were just standing outside and there was a cigarette, but like basically they stole one from the older brother. So like the oldest kid like stole it, saw the brother smoking and wanted to smoke too, invited me and my sister. Their parents caught us, called our parents, which was weird. The parents ratted us out now I think about it. But my dad was so upset, but it was just like there were bad influences. The yard was never mowed. And yeah, like they got us to smoke. Anyway, so like that was like where I was going to go, was tell these memories of my life and how there was all these other good neighbors around, these good memories. My neighbor Jack, this older kid across the street who showed me Castlevania, the other neighbors next door with the dogs. Like there was like, my memories were always scattered with good neighbors, but they were always the bad ones, and they got us in trouble a bunch of times, and their house was nasty. And even at a young age, I was like, oh, this is gross. Why is it so gross and dirty over there? And at a certain age, my parents wouldn't let us talk with them and wouldn't let us hang out with them anymore. And I remember that sense of resentment and being mad and like, why would you not let us hang out with our friends? And they were like kids. We want to hang out with kids, and being upset. But now looking back, I'm like, oh God, they were like protecting us like from our own health and our own safety. So
I had a neighbor just down the street when we moved to Griffith. So that's kind of like a place where we used to play ditch and ride our bikes and do all that, third grade on kind of stuff. And I used to love the summer times. I used to love that stuff. But there was one neighbor just a little bit down. He lived above the bookstore, and he was a bad character.
Like a real bad kid, huh?
Yeah. He was like one of those dudes that like in fifth grade looked like he was 40, had a fucking mustache and a beard.
Oh, you just gave me another memory.
Yeah, one of them cats. Like he was like 6 foot in fifth grade, like chest hair, beard, but then kind of peaked. I remember like seeing him one time in high school, and he was like still the same. Like I was like, dude, oh, you just kind of peaked out then. It was like, wow, it was interesting. But he was into some bad shit, and I used to like hanging out with him, mostly because I liked him enough where I felt safe enough that like nothing bad was going to happen. But he also had like, there was enough bad in him that it was like across my boundary lines, so I wasn't always comfortable with the things that were going on and what we're doing. And as an adult now, you look back, you go, a lot of that's shaped by their fucking parents, right? So it wasn't necessarily, he wasn't the bad apple. He was pretty good compared to how he was being raised. But yeah, it like stealing, like all the shit. Like you with this guy, I was never allowed over. I had to sneak over to this dude's house and hang out. And eventually, they're the kind of people that don't stick around very long at a school. They move around a lot. Like, got to move again, whether they get evicted all the time kind of things. Again, the kind of people that live temporarily above a bookstore in a small one-bedroom joint.
I wanted to unpack that when you said it. I was like, okay, we're going to maybe stop on that later. A bookstore. But yeah, now it makes sense.
Yeah. So, yes, I live in one of those towns that like on the corner would be like a fourplex like apartment building, not like these big apartment buildings you have here where there's big complexes, just like, there was like in the back of my one buddy I'm still friends with, he grew like part of the places that he lived growing up down the street was in the like there was a insurance office, and then the back was a little 1-bedroom tiny living room, tiny kitchen, right, that connected to the back because I guess his grandfather or uncle, whoever it was, owned the insurance company. So when they moved back from wherever they moved to, I think they moved to Florida. I think it was when they got back from Florida. they kind of rented that place for a while until they got another house, but they lived there for like one school. It was like that kind of place. They have these like really weird, you can rent out somebody's basement, made it, an extra apartment or whatever. So we had some of that stuff. So yeah, that was like that part. There was an apartment above the bookstore, and he was, like my mom and stepdad, especially my stepdad being a cop, like he was always skeptical of people and still is, and rightfully so, right?
He deals with the worst of humanity his whole life, so it just makes you conditioned to look. Yeah,
right. And they were 100% right, but I remember being so angry, like, why can't I hang with him? He's not that bad of a dude. Like, because when you know somebody, even if they're a bad dude, you get to see the good side of them too. But then they're like, yeah, you just don't want to be influenced by people that just use terrible judgment. You know what I mean? Like, It's one of those things as you get older, you're like, yeah, they were doing the right thing. To your point, it's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't hang out.
Yeah,
Can
they
you hang
were
out with
right,
them?
but in the time, you're like, what are you doing to me?
It's a lot of fun doing bad stuff.
I'm glad my parents didn't meet this one kid from my neighborhood. He was a weird neighbor. He was 2 years older, and it was just him and his dad. And when I think back now, like their house always smelled like this one air freshener. Every room you walked in was like just dripping in that air freshener. And it smelled good. In fact, I think I've
like
used
vanilla bean.
No, like it's like what the Glade, remember Glade?
Yeah.
They have a Hawaiian breeze.
Ooh, that's nice.
You know that one? It's a Hawaiian. His whole house was always like Glade Hawaiian breeze. The garage, everywhere. And if you like walked around, you'd see those plugins everywhere. And his room was so fucking dope, bro. It was like, it had like a loft above like the closet where you like, put an extra mattress almost. And he had like a ladder going up to it, but he still like another bed, like ground level. Windows, but the whole room, he had like an artist almost. He had like graffitied with like pencil and pen and Sharpie. There was just like stuff everywhere. And he could like legit, even back then, he had like graphic design like software, and he could like draw on his computer like super well. Like he did really crazy like art and everything. Like so he was kind of like, the kid himself was like a dope artist, but he was such a bad kid. Like just the part and parcel of the kid lighting shit on fire in the neighborhood. It was him, his dad, and again, sorry, I brought up the air freshener thing because now looking back, the dad was clearly just a stoner. Like the setup of everything, he's masking the smell of weed. And I remember him always selling weed and having weed when he was like 16. That's where it was like, and again, in Missouri at that point, it was like, whoa, this guy's got weed. He's fucking crazy bad. Like that was like the sign of like, if you had access to like drugs in that area, you know what I mean? Like that was like, you were like a connected bad kid. Like you've committed to a life of crime from the perspective of that wholesome area. Kind of like you're talking about, where it's kind of like in that area, it's like, yeah, he's clearly a criminal. Anyway, but his name was Brandon, and I went over to his house a couple times, and I remember like I was aware, like I didn't understand the smell stuff. Now I look back, but it was like off. Like this just smells too manufactured in here. It smells too engineered. And then his dad wasn't home. Nothing weird ever happened. He was kind of a bully and kind of an asshole and like mean verbally, like very good, quick-witted and like sharp. But he was never like, he was whatever. He was fine. I played Turok the Dinosaur Hunter on his N64, and we like made art on his computer, but it was chill. But yeah, he was a bad kid. He was a weird neighbor. And then years later, I'm like, yeah, his dad was a solo dad with like a teenage son. Clearly, like he started smoking weed with his son when he was like 16, and like started giving his son weed to sell to his friends, and like 100%, like, you know, that kid was a weed dealer, you know, around, and then they moved. And then oddly enough, another like a family moved in with a young kid that was like really young, and I ended up babysitting him a couple times. So in that same house. So, and the room was totally different by then. But.
Same smell.
Not the same smell. Not at all. They had redone the smells in the house.
Did you ever make, I was always impressed with the people that could do like the cool pictures on the TI-85s, the graphing calculators.
Oh, yeah.
Is it TI-85? Yeah. Is that what they are?
Is that right? Yeah, TI-80, TI-85. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Did you guys have Phoenix on your calculators?
What was that?
I haven't looked up anything all episode. I know we're kind of getting through it, but here we go. Like TI-85 Phoenix. Oh, man. I hope it's real. Yeah, this is it right here. So there used to be like a Galaga style like shooter that you could like swap. We had a whole bunch of different games like Mob Wars or Mafia Wars or like, but there was a copy of Phoenix that went around, and I had the highest score in the whole school. And so as people would trade around like that save file, like they would open it and they'd get a score, and the person at the very top would always be me. And it was like it was one of my, like, again, like I'm probably being hyperbolic because I'm like thinking back positively, but legit people would be like, dude, is that you? Is that your score in Phoenix? And I'm like, yeah, it's me. And they were like,
fucking crush it.
how did you do that? Like it was 4x the next person that could like get that. I was so proud of my Phoenix skills on my calculator. My math teacher hated me because all I would do is play Phoenix in his class. He's like, can you just do like one day of work? I was like, no, not really. Just
Playing Phoenix.
I'm sorry, this is irrelevant, but that same math teacher, again, he was kind of a bit, it felt like, because I would take the test and I would do fine, but I just never do homework or any worksheet ever. It was like a bit, and he was my opening class. And there were some days I'd be late and I'd apologize. And I pissed him off one day because, like, I walk in like 10 minutes late. He's like, Zorns, what are we doing? And I'm like, traffic. And I held up a bag of McDonald's and an orange juice. So I stopped at McDonald's to like on purpose to delay myself. Like, he won't care. And he was so mad. He's like, really? Okay, it's traffic. It's one thing, but you're going to be an asshole and just stop, And I was like, all right. It got a little awkward, so I felt a little bad. But I was like kind of stretched a little far, I thought.
Dude, I once walked into a class late, and as I walked in, it was an English class, and the teacher was in high school. He was standing right in front of my desk. It was like the way this was set up. The door like was facing the desks, right? So, and I walk in, I was standing right behind him, and I was like, and he had already started class. I was like, shit, what am I going to do? And I was like, how's this going to work? And then as he turned to the left, I was standing right behind him. He turned to the left, and I just stayed with him and then slid right into my seat. And I remember as I was sitting there, he was like, he turned around and he did something to the side, and he came back and looked, and he started talking, and then he looked down and he stopped for a second and looked at me, and I was just sitting there looking at him like this. I was like stone faced, and he was like, huh, and then he just carried on, and I was like, holy shit, that fucking worked.
You Ferris Bueller'd it.
I was like, that was the craziest.
That was the Ferris Bueller shit,
dude. It was the craziest fucking thing. I was like, how did he not fucking realize he was just standing and I wasn't there? Like, it was great.
That's amazing.
That's fucking awesome.
That's
everybody
incredible.
else was kind of like chuckling, and he's like, what the fuck?
That is awesome. Yeah. I don't think I ever got away with anything like that.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I love that. I can tell you one more weird neighbor story as we kind of get closer to wrap up here.
I love weird neighbor stories.
So again, this was now that I look back, and I was actually, even before I told this story, there was a moment where I was like, oh, that's what was going on. But at the time, my buddy Jake Taylor, JT, shout out to Brutalzord.
Jake the Snake? Do you call him Jake the Snake?
Brutalzord.
Brutal Zorn?
Zord.
Brutalzord. Why? Is that
I
like
used
Slam
to run
Boy?
a whole coalition, a gang of gamers called the Zords. Multi-Zord.
You were super cool, weren't
Brutal
you?
Zord, Bone Zord. Hey, man. I told you, I was a man of the people. All right. I was allowed into the popular kids' parties, but I was a man of the nerds. All right. I was a man of the gothic kids and the musicians and the skateboarders. All right. Anyway. JT Brutalzord.
It's the name of the episode, though, by the way.
What?
JT Brutalzord.
No, we're definitely not. We'll call it Brutalzord if you want. That's fine with me. So,
or Slamboy 702, your choice.
it's the last episode of Bottled and Canned. It's the last time we ever do the show. Everyone noticed the moment what was the moment the show fell apart? The relationship dissolved into oblivion, and you no longer became friends. It was episode 2 around the 8-minute 55-second mark. How dare you? Anyway, Jake, we would like. It was like pick up drop off time, so we would still be friends, and our moms were picking us up and we weren't 16 yet, like we weren't driving yet. And one time, my mom was like dropping us off, and he had this neighbor, this old lady, and she walks out of her house, or she's just kind of wandering around. You can tell she's kind of wandering. You know what I mean? Someone's like in the driveway, kind of walking one way. They just look like a lost old person, and she kind of like puts her head up, and we're parked there, and she looks at him. She goes, "Ah, shit, it's the Commies." And we were like, my mom, the windows were down. She's like, "Excuse me?" She's like, "Get your ass out of here, commie." Picks up her cane, like a rifle or shotgun and starts making gun noises. Fuck you, commie scum. And like none of us feel threatened. It just feels absurd. And we're just like, okay. And then like my mom gets out of the car and like so kindly walks over and she's like, hi, sweetheart, where do you live? Can we help get you home? Like my mom, like now I'm like realizing just dementia, or you know what I mean? Like just, someone who's wandering from the house, having like an episode, whatever. We saw her 3 or 4 more times. Like almost every time we'd go out to like see Jake, she would just be wandering around near that area, and she would always call us commies and pull up guns and try to shoot us. And then we'd have friends that would come over and be like, hey, some lady just called me a commie. We're like, don't worry about her. Like if her name was Barbara or whatever, it's like, don't worry about Barbie.
Yeah.
She's fine, or whatever. But it was just like, it wasn't my neighbor.
She's just a patriot. Don't worry about it.
It was funny. Like she never was a threat, but it was the funniest thing in the world to see this lost old weird lady being like, commies, calling us commies. It's great. So,
dude, we used to have this one guy. I don't know why we were all scared. Nicest guy. And until we got a little bit older, we realized he was a nice guy, but he always looked kind of scary. I don't really know what his deal was, but he was just kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, but he looked scary. He looked like, you remember like the movie, not Scream. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
And they're like kind of, and is that the movie where it turned out like,
no, the car and
no. Let me discuss a different movie.
Okay.
Because I think it makes more sense.
Change topic.
Yes. Like the movie, like the fucking scary guy from motherfucking Home Alone, where he didn't really kill people. He's the guy that saved Kevin.
Yeah, it's a great example.
Right. Like that's
you
how
had one of those weird neighbors.
Right. You're like, oh my God, don't go by that guy's house. He's fucking scary. Nice fucking guy, smile.
Yeah.
Like, dude, he's not like what we saw was him banging on the window trying to like attack us. And really what he was doing as you got older was like, he's like, hey kids, we're like, oh, it's just a nice old guy. Why are we so scared? Right? Because he just looked scary for some reason. We had that guy. So we just fucking run from it. Like, oh my God, get away from that fucking guy. And then you get older, like, you get to like 6th, 7th grade. Yeah, you're like, oh, hey, what's up, dude?
Yeah.
I
luckily, my old neighbor across the street, he looked like a weirdo, very tan, always shirtless.
Yes, creepy. Was he best friends with the guy from my cul-de-sac?
He was not, unfortunately.
Okay.
No, but he had the same wife for like 50 years, no kids, and the dopest, like, he was a carpenter and a wood, like, every single corner of his house was like polished, fashioned, upgraded his own cabinets, kitchen table, like, the whole house, literally, no joke, smelled like cedar. Like fresh wood was cut that day. You know what I mean? Like the whole house was insane. It did not belong in that neighborhood, and how nice it was for that time, and everything was handcrafted and upgraded. But he like died when we were like got a little older, and we all remembered him. Like he could have been the weirdo or like whatever, but he was a nice dude. He was a sweet guy,
dude.
And he had the big satellite dish in his
Oh
yard
yeah,
too.
the big one,
like the big 7-foot, 8-foot honker, dude. Woo.
Dude, I was always jealous of those people.
Yeah, satellite TV and like all like upgraded.
Dude, if you can go,
and again, we were like white trash, but we weren't like my other neighbors, but we were poor. But anyway,
what was a white trashiest thing you guys did?
That's a good question. I don't know. Went to a Kansas City Blades game. Sat in the upper bowl. They're in the IHL at the time, which is like, no, not even that. There's like the NHL, the AHL, and then the IHL. It's like the tier 3 league.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to. That wasn't even very fair. That wasn't nice. We probably got excited when we got to eat Taco Bell, like once every 6 months.
Let's. I remember. For us growing up, it was a big deal to go to like Blockbuster and we all fight over the fucking movie.
Huge deal.
Like that was a big deal. That was like Netflix and chill back then, right?
Bigger than that because yes.
It was a whole event. Like get your friend. We're gonna go to Blockbuster. We're all gonna pick a movie and we all gotta watch everybody's fucking movie. We're gonna watch 4 movies a night. We're getting the popcorn. Stepdad picks one. Mom picks one. I pick one. Sister picks one. And we all gotta watch everybody's bullshit. And then we fight over who, argue over who we get to watch first. Your movie sucked. That was the fucking best. Like now, I kind of feel like kids have access to too much stuff.
Yeah.
So like the small things don't fucking matter when you're like, it used to just be such a big deal when you would just do something with the family or like, oh, it's Friday, it's pizza night. We don't have to eat fucking.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
Totally, man. And I like. No, and like lately I've been to an extreme. Like yes, like what you're saying is no question true. But that's on an extreme level because, like, even my daughter, as she's growing older, she goes to sleepovers and they have movie night, and she comes home and she talks about the movie, and her friends come over here and we do a movie night. And they go home and they talk about it, like, and there's candy and popcorn. Like, it's not
similar.
No, I mean it's not a whole, because I know what you're talking about. The experience of going there and like, in Netflix, you can be 10 minutes into a movie and be bored and pick another one.
Or, dude, it could take you an hour and a half to find a fucking movie.
That's a different thing. But, like, you would come home from Blockbuster, and there was no, like, let's go back up and exchange this. Like, the decisions you made were the decisions
based off
you
the
made.
picture on the box.
And very little information.
You couldn't watch the trailer. You're like...
There was no internet. There was no trailer. We didn't know
good.
These directors. It was all based for Jason on how big the titties were on the box.
Dude.
The bigger the titties, the more likely Jason wanted to pick that movie. What movie, pound for pound, bamboozled you the most? That had the biggest titties on them, and you were expecting a titties.
Under Siege.
And that was way too fast. I thought there were some boobs in that, though.
Yeah, she popped out of the cake. The cake. Well, I didn't let you finish your sentence.
No, I'm saying, but like disappointed you where you expected like it to just be nothing but like a girl fest, and it was like there was nothing. There was none.
Oh,
of that
I was thinking like Species, the one where she was running around naked the whole movie. That was awesome as a kid.
Yeah.
Under Siege was great.
I think there was like covers that would like mislead you. Like you think there'd be more like, nude scenes in them, and you rent
that bothers me more now on
and then
Netflix.
you like get in there and you're like, there was never even a scene where that girl was in it. Why was she on the cover?
Yeah, like what's that? Yeah, that no, those didn't stood out. The ones that stood out were the ones where I was like, that's awesome.
What was the first like nude scene that you remember that like it was deeper than just like, oh, I like that. It was like something fundamentally changed.
So I don't remember what it was. I don't even know if it was a movie or HBO. I remember being in like, dude, it must have been like second or third grade before we were living in the apartment by Ileana Speedway. If you know where that, do you know where Ileana Speedway is?
Yeah, man.
Okay, so we moved out of my grandparents' house, had this apartment. Stepdad was over. We were watching like it was either HBO or it was a
Had to be
VHS
HBO.
or something. Like
HBO was the only one out at that time.
And I remember some movie. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, everyone thinks I'm asleep, and I was like, this is awesome. So I was like second grade-ish, because I hadn't moved to Stonebrook. You know where Stonebrook is?
Stop.
Okay.
No.
But I remember, and my stepdad was like, dude, he's like in second grade. He doesn't even know what this shit is. And I was like, yeah, no, what is that? And I was like, just like pretending to be asleep. I was like, this is awesome. And I can't remember the name of that movie or what we were watching, but that stood out in my mind as like, but that was also the same time. I think I said this on where I thought my first grade teacher had a crush on me. Because I said I had a headache and she massaged my shoulders and I was like, oh, Miss Whatever. I was like, a little old, and I was trying to figure out how to make it work. I was like, how can we make this work? Because she seems nice, you know? She's not that hot, but I was like, maybe.
I wish I could shame you, but no, I remember, again, like not the same, but I think it was a Steven Seagal movie. But like, I remember like the wife, like she like pulls the sheet up over her and then they shoot her, you know, or whatever. Like it was like.
Is it the one where he's in the coma?
Exactly. It's like time
the
to
nurse
kill or whatever it was.
Yeah, that
like,
one stood out too. Yep.
Whatever. But like there was like that scene in like that movie. And it was weird. My dad would just be like, cover your eyes. That would always be the rule. And I think like 99 out of 99 times it was like the most loose eyes ever.
Yeah.
Like I could see every feature on your face and everything in between. And then like to my parents, oh yeah, I'm closing my eyes. Like I could see plain as day through like the gap right here in my finger. And I would just watch every single thing I wasn't supposed to. But also, again, this is like I always bring this up on the show, but like my dad was so weird. He wouldn't let us watch Muppet Babies or Ren and Stimpy because they were gross or Miss Piggy had a bad attitude. But every Friday was Tales from the Crypt, followed by the Steven Seagal movie. And there was always titties in that. It was just weird.
It's weird where they draw the line or what they think is
I
appropriate.
know, right? Like and again, we're poor as shit, just like our neighbors. We're living in not the great part of town. We only have one TV in the house, and we have HBO.
Oh God!
Why? Why are we paying the cable company for HBO
when you can get a cheater box?
I don't know, dude.
Do you remember the cheater boxes?
We knew. Hey, no, but we met a guy with a cheater box, and then
my best friend.
Actually, it's funny. That guy with the box, his name was Gerald, family friend. He lives in Vegas now, and he oddly lives on a trailer right now on the side of my mom's house because she has a nice giant house with like a trailer spot in it, and he just like
pulls up his RV.
But he's still in the family. So the guy that like was watching Pride fights and UFC 1 and 2 like over like satellite with the cheater boxes, like the first guy to have access to chat rooms on the internet on like the black screen, dude. The first guy to have like a PC. And like,
dude,
again, like the gateway to a lot of the technology in my life and how nerdy I am was probably because my dad met this guy back in like the 90s, and he's still in my life and a good friend, you know. So,
dude, that's interesting. We were never allowed to get a cheater box because my stepdad was a cop and it was against the law. And I was like, Jesus, can we choose?
God, he sounds so cool.
Yeah, like, why do we have to follow all the laws? Like, can we just break this one? Because otherwise you had to hit like the AB button. Did you have that when you were growing up? Like on the old school box, you had to you're trying to get some of the Spice Channel, dude. Sometimes you'd make out like the wavy lines.
I would just have channel like 97 or 98 would be a scrambled Spice channel feed. And in the early days of like hormones, I would just sit and watch the scrambled feed.
And you'd make out the
just waiting for a nipple.
Yes, you're like, yes, or waiting for like the
one nipple for one frame.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Hours of watching that to try to figure it out.
Yeah, that's actually so true. Like on the TV we used to have in our car, like a 12-inch screen, it'd sit in the basement. Like hormones are fucking crazy, bro.
Yeah,
like
dude.
Our bodies and our minds are going through
you're
wild stuff.
Dude, and you're like at that age, dude, you're like possessed. You know what I mean? Like you're not who you were or are. It's like, what the fuck? Angry, upset, like the whole roller coaster of all these things. But the best neighbors are the ones with the cheater boxes. You're like, oh, Cinemax.
Good tie-in. That's right.
Yeah.
Our best, not the weird neighbors. The best neighbors are the ones
with the cheater boxes.
Channels. So I love it, dude. But all right, man. I think we'll wrap this fucker up. But we are Bottled and Canned. Shoot us an email. Bottled and Canned.
Like
pod.
that lady. Shoot us an email.
Shoot us an email down the back of our throats. Bottled and Canned pod at gmail.com. Shoot us a message. We will read it on air for the love of God. Someone reach out to us. Tell us how bad we suck. Tell us why the show's production quality and art is awful. I just want to hear something.
Oh, wait. Let me just stop you
right there. Or
the
socials are terrible.
Weren't you going to introduce the new intro after, like, you made it, you set it up?
No, you're right. I forgot because I fucked up and I got
Yes.
Okay.
So let's close out by introducing. Yes. First of all, okay, let them listen to the new one.
No, go ahead. You tee this up.
This is our new alternate intro.
So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to read the socials, and then we're going to finish the show with the new alternate intro. Can I say my catchphrase? Intro. And you say the catchphrase at the end of the alternate intro.
Okay, but I don't have the headphones, so you got to tell me when the intro's over.
That's fair. I will give you the finger down your throat. Okay.
That's fucking no.
Okay, I'll just give you the finger then. All right. Here we go.
Jesus.
If we're ready, but again, our socials at Bottled and Canned Pod, TikTok, Twitch, and Instagram, all the same, all spelled out at Bottled and Canned Pod. And Jason will have better quality resolution photos for you very soon. So with that, I'm going to play our new alternate intro that was written. The music was produced from a child's app that they have access to make beats. The lyrics were written by my daughter and sung by my daughter. So this is a 7-year-old's brain. Even though we told him to say very specific things with the lyrics,
she said, fuck it.
None of it was taken into account. But we feel like the product is good enough to share with you. So this is the Bottled and Canned.
You guys will hear it next episode.
Here it is. But are we going to start the episode with it?
Yeah, we're teeing it up right now, ladies and gentlemen, so that next episode you're aware of what the new intro is. Like, we're just letting you get a sneak peek.
This is our new intro forever on the show?
Yes. Fucking yes.
Oh, okay. So, So we're queuing up our new intro. Here we go. Let's check it out. Here is written and produced by my 7-year-old daughter, the new intro music, and then Jason will close us out with his catchphrase. Here we go.
Hello, welcome to the beer show with us right now. Come on with us to the beer show. Hello, welcome to the beer show with us right now. Come on with us to the beer show.
That's fucking awesome. Good night, Sweden.